So what happens is this Kundalini energy will rise through the body. It will enlighten each of our chakras, including our third eye chakra and our crown chakra. By illuminating our third eye chakra, this will in turn blow open or explode our crown chakra. And this is symbolized often like this or like this, with the Indian chief and his head of feathers. He may be wearing snakeskin boots as well to have the snakes below and the feathers above. But this is a representation of his crown chakra being blown open. A full open chakra system. And this happens often in different traditions. Here we see this woman here with the Book of the Law and her crown chakra system being depicted here as fully open with a shell.
On this side we have the intertwined columns on either side representing the caduceus, with the shell up above representing the wings or the blown open crown chakra.
So in many cultures we will see the feathers over the head, symbolizing the crown chakra. In the Pentecost, the story of the Pentecost, the Holy Spirit comes down onto man and rests over the head of the people in the temple as a flame over their heads. So this flame now, the Holy Spirit, is representing the crown chakra. Here's the bird again over the head of this prophet or this teacher. He is fully illuminated with the Holy Spirit.
And here we have Mary in the temple with the men of the temple, and we can see the fire, the flame over each one of their heads.
It's interesting to point out here what the artist has done. This is occult artwork again. Mary here is representing the pillar, and this canopy is the cap of a mushroom. Here are the striations or the gills, the people in the temple representing the base of the mushroom, and the dots that may form around the veil. So even here Mary is with her scarf or her shawl as the universal veil of the mushroom.
Another interesting point about this is this arch of the mushroom is also the great arch in the sky of the sun. So this arch has a dualistic meaning as well.
This is where we come with the term archbishop.
And architecture. So 49 days after the Immaculate Conception is Pentecost. Gautama meditated underneath a tree for 49 days, after which he became the Buddha. The embryo on the 49th day after conception technically becomes the fetus.
So there is a 49-day period. It happens over and over again, and it also happens within our human body. Here's the human fetus at 49 days. The human fetus is not a fetus before this, it is an embryo. So on this day we actually become a human.
So what happens on the 49th day that causes the embryo to become a fetus is that the pineal gland, or the third eye, literally floods the brain and floods the body of the embryo with DMT, or dimethyltryptamine, which is this powerful entheogen that we've been talking about. So on the 49th day it is suggested that that is the day that the soul actually enters into the body. This is the first day that the fetus can actually be considered alive.
It's almost as if this host body was created for us, but we aren't there yet. It's common for a Buddhist to recite from the Tibetan Book of the Dead for 49 days after the loss of a loved one, as their soul passes through the bardo. This is something that Christians may recognize as purgatory, this period of time after death, before the next stage. So we have this 49-day period where we are not a human, but the host human body has been created, and on this 49th day our spirit will enter into this, deciding what sex it will be. The fingers and toes begin to develop, the eyelids begin to form and close. So this is a very important day for us.
Here we have Dr. Rick Strassman's book, DMT, the Spirit Molecule, a doctor's revolutionary research into the biology of near-death and mystical experiences. Now, Dr. Strassman, he was actually the first doctor allowed to do psychedelic or entheogenic studies in the U.S. in 20 years. at the time that this research began. And he conducted the research at the University of New Mexico. It took many years to get the permits and begin the research itself. But one of the many things that Dr. Strassman discovered while doing research on DMT and other entheogens is that he was actually able to replicate the alien abduction experience in the laboratory, as well as many levels of out-of-body experiences and other things as well.
So here again is our meditating man, with his chakra system being opened by the Kundalini energy. And up here on his head, above the third eye and in between the crown chakra, we have wings on the head. And we actually do have wings in our head. This is the corpus callosum, and it rests right in the center of our brain. This is responsible for transferring data back and forth from one hemisphere of the brain to the other. But it looks like wings sitting right on top of our spinal column. So we do have wings on top of our staff, and this energy will climb that staff, and this is what will fill full of this psychedelic material, DMT, and saturate the brain. Here again is this third eye system, representing the eye of Horus, the eye of Ra, and the third eye chakra.
An interesting thing to note about the eye of Ra is that it was literally pulled from the head of Horus. So now we can begin to understand where the symbol of the eye of Ra came from. It is literally your third eye inside your brain. So Horus was the sun god, and as we've been saying, there was this macrocosm, microcosm belief system. So Horus was the sun in the third eye, and the microcosm was the drug god, or symbolized a dualistic symbology between the two belief systems.